the amount of controversy that is around every bit and piece of how something is made, it's you just can't have anything. Like we are getting to the point where you just can't have anything. You can't get anything made. You can't get anything new. You just any production is faulted by social media, and it's almost getting to the point where there's just enough of reactions and reactors and everything to start a trend enough. And the most dangerous part of it is I mean, if we come back to the gaming side of things, it's super fucking dangerous. It is 100% dangerous that because of an online trend, shareholders could potentially, it could potentially bankrupt a studio, and shareholders could pull the plug on that game studio. That is the most dangerous trend that you could possibly potentially have. I guess where we'll start off with this, because there's something to be said about Microsoft, there's something to be said about PlayStation. I mean, Nintendo's doing Nintendo things. They've been out of the loop for a while, but and again, I haven't done one of these in a long time. But physical disc production ending in January 28th for new games released on PlayStation consoles. Again, I haven't done a talking point video in almost a year and a half at this point because of the fact that it's just like there's almost in a major way there's no point of doing talking point videos anymore because of the fact, or even doing talking point stuff on Twitch anymore, because of the fact that there is so much just like opinions that actually don't match the way that business works, and opinions that are opposite of the way that put in put into play. So, I mean, this is a prime example here. The AI, conversations, that's another example there. How good or bad the industry is right now, that's a whole other conversation. There's so much going on in social media world that doesn't actually relate to the majority of the user base. So let's first up again talk about the physical disc thing. Consumer preferences and broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital. Physical game disc production for all new games released on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January of 28. So what that is kind of telling me is I don't think the PlayStation 6 is coming in 28. Like a lot of people have been like, the rumor mill has been, oh my God, it's coming in 28. I think we're probably going to get like 2 years of a nothing but digital landscape for consoles. I think they'll probably push in 28. I think we're going to get a big push for PS5 Pro. I think the PS5 Pro is going to get a big push by probably GTA 6, where a lot of people, I mean, that's a whole other thing of, oh my God, GTA 6 is $80 and the deluxe edition is $100. How dare they? It's like, do you realize that a lot of games deluxe editions are like $120? I was figuring it was gonna be like $150 because of the fact that Take Two made WWE 2K26 $150. So that seems to be the top of their price point. And this is the thing, all these commenters and everything, they're sitting there like, well, Sony is setting the price. No, they're not. That Sony does not set prices on their network. It's the publisher that sets the price. It's Take Two Interactive. Take Two has to set a certain price off from what the shareholders are willing to pay for them to be able to make the project. So they have to set it at a certain price to be able to pay back the shareholders off from the budget that they get, to begin the project, that greenlit budget that they get from day one when they concept this shit and everything. And concepting, that's another thing too, of like people complaining about AI and concepting and everything. It's like, well, that AI can actually help out with the concepting phase of a project tenfold, in all honesty. So following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 28 in disc format. Somebody posts up, I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody posts up potentially Resident Evil Veronica could be like one of the last, as of right now. of the recording of this video, that could be one of the last games to have a actual physical disc, which is just like, okay, you're gonna buy it on the digitally on the storefront anyways, so what the fuck does it matter? It's a natural direction for Sony Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. I can 100% see this being true because majority of everyone don't want to go down to a store, wait in the line, freeze their ass off for a midnight release. No, what you want to do is get your hands on it as soon as the clock strikes midnight, as soon as that countdown timer hits 0. You either want to have your hands on with it right there at that split second, so you can get a couple hours in before you go to bed, before you have to go to work or school or whatever in the morning, or you are live streaming it and you're doing the big old reaction thing off from that, or you're recording a video, again, reacting off from that, being a content creator and all that stuff like everybody tries to be nowadays. The only thing that I could really see being like a actual like meh on this whole thing is if you collect like the game covers, which essentially you could just print out a game cover anyways and just buy a bunch of CD cases, which I mean like the jewel cases of so make a PS5 game look like a PS1 game, maybe cool, make it like look like a collector's item or something. I mean, that's the only thing where I'm like, okay, that's getting phased out, but you can make that yourself. If you're a big fan of the thing, you're probably going to make something like that anyway. So is it really that big of a deal that the stores aren't selling it? Somebody can make it on an Etsy shop or something. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games, provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's a retailer or PlayStation Store. So I was seeing something about retailers were going after PlayStation Network also, saying it's a monopoly over in Europe, which is absolute horseshit also because of the fact, again, publishers set pricing. Publishers are the ones that are actually being like, okay, well, we have this much budget for marketing and distribution. Because you have a marketing and distribution budget, and then you have a kind of a concepting phase budget. It's part of the budget, I should say. And then you have part of the budget, which is the actual production part of the budget. Each one of those is its own separate thing that you got to put all together. That's how the product gets made. We've known about this for 25 some odd years now, that every one of us that got a demo disc showing like, or read in a magazine as a younger one, or even watch a YouTube video nowadays where you see a full 2-hour documentary showing how things are made, this stuff. And for everyone else that really doesn't even look in, the background of how things are made, that's the vast majority of people that are just complaining and not knowing what they're really complaining about. No impact. Rationale. Sony citing shifting consumer preferences with digital down now significantly outpacing physical. So physical copies were reportedly only 15% of full game sales in a recent quarter. So if that is if this is from a financials call, then Sony is 100% in the right to do this. And everyone else is 100% in the wrong for complaining about it, because that means vast majority of people that are not, on social media all the time, they don't care. They're just getting the thing on the storefront, and it's probably way easier to do that, like I said, because then you don't have to go down to a store and wait in a line and everything else. Broader context, this aligns with industry trends. Many modern games are too large for a single disc anyways. And I have been saying this shit for at least 4 to 5, maybe even 6 years now. The PS5 already has a popular digital-only edition, and major releases like GTA 6 are going digital first or exclusive. So essentially, this part up here is what Sony is like, here's what our stats and data is saying. And this is essentially everything through all these cons are kind of the perso preference, the opinion piece. So convenience, it's instant access, no shipping or delays. You can't argue that because, again, literally when the clock strikes 0 and it's midnight in your time zone, you can play the damn thing. If you have a preload, boom, instant access. It literally starts up if you click onto it. Lower production shipping costs, potentially passed on, or higher margins for Sony. So again, people are trying to argue, and I've seen this of, well, is the price going to go down on the games? This is probably only about, I want to say 10% of the budget at the most. It's like depends on how well a game is purchased physical copies wise. So if you have a game that is pre-ordered in store and they need 1 million copies of it, that's going to be a higher, a higher cost to be able to produce all the box, the box art, the disc, print the disc, and everything else. If it's only 15%, then I mean you're not really kicking into the potential of shipping costs and stuff, because you're not shipping as much product anyways. Easier updates, patches, and features like cloud saves, crossplay. Can't argue with that, because when you get a game on this home, what's the first thing that you got to do? You update the damn thing. What's in the update? You're downloading half the fucking game off of the update, because guess what? Half the game isn't on the disc anyways. So loss of true ownership is null and void with that fact. That is literally an opinion versus the factual information of you have to download updates. This is the reason why a lot of people that debate keep saying the same thing. Don't debate with opinions, because you're going to be wrong in one way or the other, unless your opinion matches up with the facts. And that's, again, then you're just arguing with facts anyways. It doesn't really make sense one way or the other. Okay, so no resale or lending or physical copies. Now, resale. Could Sony, if in the next year or two, implement something where they go, okay, you can do a one-time gift of a game license to a friend, or maybe a one-time gift back and forth to a friend, we already have game sharing through like the family program and all that stuff on the PlayStation, on the Xbox, on Steam. I don't know about any other platforms, but I know that those have that. So it's not that far off from the matter of like, oh yeah, they can just implement something else into the PlayStation Store. They could be already working on it. Who knows? There could be a major update where we get like a PS5 overhaul of some kind. And especially in 2028 when everything goes digital, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, guess what, they have like a PlayStation State of Play, and boom, or like a major press conference where they show off the PlayStation 6 and they're like, guess what, we had this major overhaul of PlayStation Network, and then everyone that's complaining about all this shit just looks like a fucking idiot in the long run anyways, because once again it's like, well, you guys didn't allow all the information to come out, you just knee-jerk reactioned it on your social medias. Concerns about game preservation, especially long-term, decades from now. How many games that are 10 years old that are worse, that people really want remastered, and even games that they don't want remastered, get remastered and remade all the time? We got Resident Evil Code Veronica, which majority of people didn't super love Code Veronica. There was a lot of people are like, it's all right, but then there's a lot of people that didn't even know what the fuck that was, and now we have a remake of it coming. And then also, you have stuff like God of War remasters where it's just upresing stuff. You have The Last of Us as like rebuilt in the newest version of the engines and everything, because The Last of Us came out in the PS3, and then we have Spyro and Crash, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, and the Pixel remasters and everything else. So in a 10-year time span, half the games get remastered and remade anyways. Tomb Raider is about to have that same thing happen once again for like the 6th time on their first game that came out back on the PS1. It makes no sense to complain about this, about game preservation. Guess what happens in 10 years' time also? When the PlayStation 6 comes out, the PS5 is going to get cracked and jailbroken to shit anyways. It already has been. And then you're going to have all the games get uploaded onto the internet, whether it's legal or illegal, whatever. It doesn't really matter legally wise on this. Essentially, what happens in the actual, put into play and practice on this, just like the PS3 had, just like the PS4 had, just like the PSP had, just like the Vita had, PS2, PS1, every PlayStation fucking platform has been jailbroken or emulated in one way or the other. Guess what's going to happen with the PS5? Oh, well, we need servers to play some of these games. In all honesty, vast majority of people don't give a shit. They're going to go on to the next newest, coolest thing that they see the influencers of the internet playing, and they're going to go, that mecha whatever the hell game, that I need to play that and stream that and make content around that because that's the new trend. That's the meta. That's just the way everything is and works now. Impact on retailers and collectors. Again, collectors, I think the whole collectors thing is going to turn around into, oh, here's a cool keychain or not necklace or whatever. Here is like Commander Shepard's helmet from Mass Effect, Master Chief's helmet from Halo, a sword from Assassin's Creed or The Witcher, or some the Mikola statue from, actually that's the other one too. All of these press packs, I think we'll end up having fan ultimate editions because you don't have to worry about disc sales and everything else. You'll have all these, ultimate editions that become way cooler and way more exaggerated because they have more of a budget to put cooler shit inside. Then you'll end up having bigger statues. You'll have, more, the like keys and the lockpick or whatever the hell it is. You'll end up seeing a lot more of that stuff, I think, in collector's editions. So the collector's editions will actually be worth more for what you're paying for. This marks a big shift for the industry that started with cartridges and discs. Nintendo and Xbox haven't made similar full commitments yet, though the trend towards digital has been growing across the board. Many gamers are divided. I would say Xbox is on the trend also because the next Xbox is, I'm pretty sure that's an all digital box, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically just a PC. It's like a Steam box, but sold by Microsoft. Which also, the Steam box is another prime example of a all digital system. And sure, Nintendo is doing something that is in the old school realm, because again, you might as well say having physical copy stuff is old school way of doing things. Now Nintendo has the little cartridges, the little SD cards, the joke that I made a year or two ago was, you're going to get GTA 6 and it's going to come on a freaking hard drive. It's going to come on like an SSD hard drive, and you plug that in USB into your console, into your PS5, and that's how you play it. Who knows? Is GTA 6 going to be 150 gigs and this and that? And that's the other thing too, is like all these prices getting blown up through the roof from AI. And everything. I mean, I think it's just price gouging, because all this essentially is price gouging the hell out of anything that is system storage memory, whether it's RAM or SSD memory. It's going to happen. Like, whether we had AI or not, they're going to find some reason to do it. They're going to be like, oh, we're going to war. We need the drones to be able to detect stuff. So we need all the memory units. And then, or we have a new console coming out and we have to get all of the Samsung 990 Pro, SSD sticks. So yeah, is this a huge deal? Like, the internet is throwing a shit fit now. What is pissing me off about all this, in all honesty, was really getting me. So we have like Domino's, makes about as much sense as those changing to digital pizza. So you have these companies, then stop selling digital games for the same price as physical ones too. You're removing the printing box, shipping price. I shouldn't be paying $70 for digital games anymore. How much does the production cost go overall, though, between the marketing budget, the concepting, the audio design, everything? You might have to bring in a whole orchestra to do that. That's a whole separate that's a whole separate budget there. You have to, what is it, the concepting alone is probably sometimes 3-4 months worth of a budget of a game. um, God, voiceover, all that stuff, mocap. Geez, there's so much that goes into it, and we're only paying like it's literally a game can be $10 million of a production cost. You're paying $70 for it, even if you're paying $80 for it. That's how much of a percentage of 10 million right there, and people are complaining about this. I'm surprised it doesn't cost like the console costing more. Sure, that can be a thing of discussion there, but the games, costing $10 more. No, it's not really that big of a deal, I would say. Um, if you're switching to PC because PlayStation is going digital only, I have got some news for you. I own an AI image, which, oh my God, AI is bad. I own Cyberpunk 2077 on Steam. I can delete Steam at any time, copy the entire Cyberpunk game folder to another PC or drive, launch the executable directly, and it will play. This can actually be done for Cyberpunk on Steam. What is one of the Steam games considered DRM free? Oh, okay, or very close to. Okay, so this is a very specific situation. Right. So they use one of the very, yeah, see right here. So very close to it. You can launch the main executable, the exe, typically in the bin64 subfolder directly without Steam client running, and will start the game. This doesn't apply to most Steam games. Many use Steam DRM and will fail to prompt for Steam, or it will fail or prompt for Steam if you try to run the exe directly. Cyberpunk is an exception due to CDPR philosophy. Bottom line, the statement is accurate for this specific game. It's one of the nicer aspects of owning it on Steam version, more versus more lockdown titles. Exactly. And this is where people get so much bullshit engagement from. 1.6 million. Because technically it's not a lie, but it's not the full truth. There's a nugget of information. This is like essentially what a left-leaning politician would do. Give you a nugget of truth, but the actual execution of it is not actually true for the vast majority of what they're talking about. PlayStation faces multiple lawsuits alleging PlayStation Store operates an illegal monopoly. Facing lawsuit claims Sony sets exclusive prices for games on its digital store and can issue discounts without developers' consent. Yeah, actually, no, because it wouldn't be developers' consent. It would be publishers' consent, because that's the reason why you always see, publisher sale. You don't ever see developer sale. It's called a publisher sale for a reason, because the publisher is saying the sale price. The publisher is saying the ESRB price. That's kind of the way the industry works.